Thank you.
We are.
Yeah.
It's all work that I did order.
No, I think that's right. And then, for the other.
Visual, I love it.
That is.
Much better version though.
We'll just keep them standing.
Morning.
Morning.
Well, we can send it. All right, that's what I'm talking to.
Yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. And I will note for the record that all board members are present and good morning. Thank you for being here. We will now move to our agenda, the administrative portion of our agenda. I move the approval of the minutes from the October 18th, 2023 board meeting. Second by Ms. Chappelle, and then I will note for the record that I have unreadiness related to page 3 of the minutes, 2 things under new business. December 5th, 2023, East Cleveland recall election. The minutes reflect a transcript of the hearing can be obtained by contacting Ms. Bajani. I would like to change that word hearing to discussion for the record so that it reads a transcript of the discussion can be obtained.
Yeah, that's accurate. I'm not saying so.
Thank you. And then secondly, not as big, but just an editorial director Perlati. We can drop the S at the end of that. Any other unreadiness from my
You mean we
fellow
can't
board-
clone him? So
We can't clone.
Your name needs to
He wishes he was cloned right about now,
Trying to be Greek like that guy.
yeah. All right, any other amendments for the record?
No.
Okay, with those being noted, all in favor with the necessary corrections, aye. Aye, the ayes have it. It is so ordered. Thank you. On to ballot. I move the final approval of the ballot order for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election. Second by Ms. Chappelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I move item 3, acknowledgement of the ballot proofs for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election in accordance with the ballot proofing policy approved by the board at its March 12th, 2021 board meeting. Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. On to candidate and petition services. I move the acknowledgement of candidates withdrawn from the November 7th, 2023 general election and the March 19th, 2024 primary election. And for the record, for the November 7th, 2023 general election, the withdrawal is for Bratnall member of council, Jeffrey G. Myers, nonpartisan, and for the March 19th, 2024 primary election, Court of Common Pleas General Division, full term commencing 1/7/25, Lauren C. Moore, Democrat. Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. On to election officials, I move the authorization to pay 5 voting location managers, 5 voting location deputies, 53 precinct election officials, for a total of $13,250 for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election. Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. On to election support, I move the authorization to process payment in the amount not to exceed $500 for 1 private voting location being used for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election. Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Item 7, I move the final authorization for the allocation of voting booths for the December 5th, 2023 East Cleveland recall election, as noted by the rest of the narrative in agenda item 7. Second by Ms. Chappelle. All in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. On to fiscal services, we will take these in 2 parts. Agenda item 8A, A and B. I move the approval of the voucher for resolution A for is that FIS-VA, and that would be Tech Communications, Inc. And Director Prelati, anything that you want to add to that?
I'll second for
Second by
purposes.
Ms. Chappelle, thank you.
TEC Communications, the county has a larger contract with TEC, but it provides phone services. We then have this standalone carve out with TEC for our phone system, and it's because of the data, kind of like the data dump or the data access that our system requires for people to look up personalized information such as grab my ballot, where's my poll place, those types of things that gets into copies of information that's in DIMS. And so because of that, there is an additional structure that needs to be created for that. And that's what this really covers, is the ability for us to do that, which is, I'm gonna say, obviously is a good tool that we want to continue to go forward, providing that option for people to get that through their phones.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
That's good.
All right, all in favor of 8A, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And on to 8B, RCAP Security LLC. Director, if you would just give us a brief overview.
Sure, and this is the law enforcement that will be driving the vans tomorrow night. It's to pay that invoice when it comes in. Typically, we have been utilizing Willow Security, Willow. I think they've disbanded. They haven't even bid. And so Sean Keita and her team released bids. We got responses back. RCAP Security, who I think once or twice in the past we have utilized, and actually a lot of the off-duty officers, they kind of sign up for a couple of different agencies, and this is one that they do. They were awarded this contract. The person who kind of would coordinate some of the things with Willow, gentleman, Officer Cummings, is also associated with this, so he'll be involved in this process. So it's not like it's completely green with somebody who we've worked with before and will help us. You will see that there are some lower bids that came in, but those actually are non-responsive in that they weren't able to provide the numbers of people that we needed. RCAP was the lowest responsive bidder for the process.
Sure. Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, what elections did we use this company before, you know, I mean, how long ago was it? Do we know?
It's been a while. I don't think Victor's here. It's been a while, but it is what we found in talking with Richard, was it Richard Cummings? Robert Cummings, is that RCAP and Willow were kind of like the two main agencies that the officers would sign up with for work. And Willow, I think they got into some issues with financial taxes and things like that, so they disbanded. So it's been a while since RCAP, but we're gonna see a lot of familiar faces coming back. In fact, when they provided the list to us of officers, election support, Vic and his team goes, yep, I know them, I know them, I know
Okay,
them.
great. All right, so they're not unfamiliar to us
No.
or this
Yeah,
process. Okay, great.
Okay, sure. Any other questions from the board? All right, all in favor, aye? Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you. I will move the personnel agenda as provided for in our board packet.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. And on to new business, our November 7th, 2023 general election update.
Can we take that? Okay. So early in-person voting, ended here at the Board of Elections yesterday. Staff on Saturday and Sunday of this weekend processed over 4,300 voters, which was well ahead of August turnout. Actually, on Saturday, they processed 700 more voters than they did in August. So overall, our total was 21,645. Nearly identical to what our total was in August. And keep in mind, we had one less day of early in-person voting through this process because of the Columbus Day holiday. It looks like early in-person voting is the new normal. You know, people are coming out to vote early in person, and the numbers are, you know, for comparables, is much higher than we've ever seen in the past. Brent and Steve and the entire CPS staff did a great job, as well as other departments that pitch in. We did have the line outside the building. It did, yesterday it reached as far as, the apartments over there by the canopy. But the wait was less than an hour for those voters. Parking continues to be an issue. It was challenging both on Saturday and Sunday, where we had voters parking predominantly over at Campus International and then coming across the street. So it is an issue that has not totally been resolved and probably won't be at this location, you know, so it's just, we're oftentimes just putting Band-Aids, plugging in a leak here and there, you know, just doing the best we can with it. As far as vote by mail, as of Friday, the ballot department processed over 96,000 applications. As of Friday, nearly 75,000 have been returned for a 78% return rate, which is exactly where it was in August, you know, and in August, we ended up with a 94% return rate. So we should expect another 10 to 15,000 ballots to be returned by the end of the process. So in August, we had an overall turnout of 39%. So we would expect, you know, we're saying 40 to 45% overall turnout for everything for this election.
I heard on the news this morning that, early in person voting statewide is up like 12%. We don't have a percentage for us yet. Did I?
As far as,
you said it was
we were,
basically the same?
I think we're slightly below what our
Oh, slightly below.
overall turnout was for August,
Okay.
for early in person, but very close. And really, we were lagging behind probably 10 or 12%, but this last week, we really
Caught
had
up.
a lot of people caught up. And like I said, I think it's gonna be, it was just a little bit short of what we were in August.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I would say, when we say a little short, a couple hundred,
yeah,
and we did lose one day on the front end because of Columbus Day holiday, so early voting started on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday. And at the beginning of the cycle, not such nice weather. Like rainy, cold, so now we're like, I gotta get down there in this type of stuff, but man, did they make up for it in the last days.
A lot of good comments though, from people been saying the in-house operation is running smoothly, nothing but good people calling saying, hey, you know, you guys know what you're doing down there, and so, oh gee,
right.
we like to think that, but it's nice to hear from time to time, so.
It is.
And may I echo that? I received a lot of positive comments about the early in-person voting operations. So I just wanted to thank the staff and to echo my colleagues' sentiments.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people on the way out, and then they said, oh, once I got in, it really went really smoothly, you know, well coordinated, so, yeah.
We have more practice than we would want.
And I love the signage out front, no early voting today, so, is that new? I don't remember seeing that, maybe we did it before, where the signage wasn't as prominent. perhaps.
Yeah, we started this year, we started putting more focus on there to try to get them to hopefully not even come into the building.
Right.
And actually, even with that, like on our phone system, when you call, the first thing we'll say is early in-person voting ended on Sunday, but press, I think it's 2 to hear what your neighborhood polling location is. So this way it kind of helps people, definitely direct them to go to their neighborhood polling location on Tuesday. As far as our electronic poll books, last night staff updated the electronic poll books with everyone who voted here early in person. That data will be reflected in the electronic poll book. If they go to the polling location, it'll reflect the fact that they had already voted. However, a voter can always vote provisional if there was some type of mix up or confusion, and we can always work it out on the backside. And those electronic poll books will be delivered by election support throughout the day. As far as our poll worker department, they've hired overall 4,200 workers. Our average per precinct comes out to 3.9% workers, although we're a lot of, you know, we're legally, you know, we vote to have, or board votes to have at least 2 workers at every precinct. We're up to the 3.9%, which is very close to the maximum of 4. We also have adequate standby workers in place for election night. As I said, election support also are gonna be delivering out the electronic poll books. In addition, one thing that we kind of learned through working with the new clear ballot equipment is we did have an issue with the paper rolls that became unraveled during transportation, which then caused them to kind of bind up on election morning. This cycle, we had Chase workers who went, the ballot scanners were delivered without paper rolls in them. And then election support staff went out and installed the paper rolls at the polling location. So this way to alleviate any of the vibrations and the unraveling going on. For March, we'll look at that, we'll see how that works out, but we might work out different to have the poll workers put them in or whatever. We'll evaluate it at that point when we have more time for training. But we believe that for this election, it'll be a good solution for that problem. Tonight is the Monday night organizational meeting. Poll workers will be going to the polling location, setting up the polling location for the most nearly, there'll be still things to do tomorrow morning, but they'll be reporting, I believe, starting at 6 o'clock tonight. So just in conclusion, as far as the election is concerned, just reminders, early in person here, Board of Elections ended yesterday, so voters should go to their neighborhood polling locations to vote on election day. And that is also, and if they're not sure about where their polling location is, they can call our automated phone system, they can check our website, or they can call here at the Board of Elections and somebody will personally help direct them as well. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and close at 7:30 p.m. And also just as a reminder for voters to bring photo ID, which is the new requirement with passage of House Bill 458. As an extra thing, I did want to say, this past week, we did have the director and Chairman Curtis appeared before County Council and presented our budget. Director Crowley effectively communicated what our needs are for the budget and some of the shortfalls that were reflected in initial budget. And also Chairman Curtis presented a passionate and effective explanation as to why we need a new polling or a new headquarters here for the Board of Elections. So I think our board was well represented.
Right. So, well, two things if I might.
Sure.
Thanks to you guys thanks for your passion, plea and the noted deficiencies or whatever we need to support our budget. So thanks to you guys for representing us so well. So hopefully we'll hear back something. And there was an article in the paper about the need for new headquarters, which I thought was really didn't say, where the locations are, but it certainly expressed the need to benefit the voters. It's not for the parking, we got to get some relief on. So it was a really good article. And so I'm assuming that's an outgrowth of your effective advocacy on our behalf. So thanks again for that. I did want to just ask though, because I did ask for other elections that we track the impact of the ID law on potential issues. Been reading in other places, not necessarily for us, that there has been some impact of the Ohio ID law on the number of provisional voting voters. And so if we can make sure to track that so that we can, just find out. Right?
When Hassani, because the registration department is the one who deals with that interchange as far as, especially with the provisionals, but ballot department will present as far as the vote by mail. But I believe during the provisional report that will be included with it. Those numbers.
Okay. And we do have a way to determine in each instance, how are we tracking it? I guess that's a better question.
I was referring to the fact of the cure period, how many people came into cure their ballots through that. I think your question would be maybe more.
Well, how many defects in order, the cure period tells us how many people came to cure,
right.
gives us one data point. The data point I would like to know is how many deficiencies or defects or problems were there starting, if we're able to track that.
I think there's two ways.
Okay.
One is they're separate. So the one is, let's see who does come in and curious to see to utilize that. But on the front end,
right.
One of the categories for provisional rejection is missing ID. And I think that's what the rest of the state is going off of to see, and we saw this too in August, where our missing ID, the rejection for missing ID went from something that was at the bottom of the list to being the second most reason for a rejection beyond a not registered. And I don't think we're ever gonna surpass a not registered, that's realistic. So and so we will have that, we will report that, because that is somebody who appeared. They weren't turned away, not trying to see who left and didn't.
Yeah,
vote
no, I
for
know
the
we
candidate,
can't.
But those then who say, okay, well, I'm gonna vote, and they vote that provisional, and it comes back here, and there's no ID checked, then that's right for them to come down and cure, so we'll know if they do that. And then we'll also know if they don't, and therefore that will be a rejected provisional, and that number we will track to see, because across the state, those numbers are really the percentages are they've doubled.
All right, I just want to make sure that that category of
Yes.
missing ID incorporates, improper ID, or, missing ID means, they didn't present the correct form of ID. So it captures up. So we do have a way to track it.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so that, I'm interested in that data point as well as the
Sure.
number of people that come to cure.
And
Great.
just to add, that's a reportable requirement of the Secretary of State's office, so all 88 counties. That is the Secretary of State kind of predetermines what the categories of rejection are, and then we all follow suit, and that's one of them. And then he has all those metrics on his website too, that builds off of ours, but we'll definitely identify that and bring it. So.
That'd be great,
so no
yeah,
one's-
just,
look,
because I will see a report in all likelihood, or some news report about statewide. Because we do that for everything, but I always, okay, but what's happening in our county? So as long as we have the ability to get those data points for us, that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
that's it.
Okay, any other
Good
questions
job.
for Mr. Gallagher?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the printed report.
Yes.
It's always I love it. Good. Color graphic.
That's Mike West.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Mr. Bellotti,
I get the fun one.
yes.
December 5th, East Cleveland recall election update. Today is a close of registration for the East Cleveland recall election. And we've had discussions with registration and with IT, because we have to navigate this. It's very interesting in that if someone gives us a registration update for the December 5th election, it is not in play for tomorrow. That deadline was back at the beginning of October. So what that data set is set. Likewise, if someone goes to the polls tomorrow and they cast a provisional ballot and they update their address via the provisional process, that is not timely for the December election. So we will do our due diligence to make sure that we keep it straight. So when people are, the easy part is tomorrow, right? Because that's kind of set in place, unless someone gives a change today and they think it may apply for tomorrow, but won't. Or if they go to the polls, the people are instructed to get them through the provisional process, and they will basically duplicate that address update there. But if it comes here today, then that'll be in play in time for the next one. So it's just something that Sonny became manager at a great time, statewide petitions, we got this stuff to manage and keep track of that. So that's one thing with the closed registration.
One quick question.
Yeah.
Have the voters been educated around this issue?
This particular one, no, and I don't know if it causes more, I don't know if it confuses them or not, and that's the hard part.
Because it is confusing.
Yes, it is confusing for us.
Right.
We administer it, so we really haven't brought this to their attention because there's a mechanism for them to still cast a ballot tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we can get more into that. Because again, then once we get past tomorrow, we can educate them that they can, even though the closed registration will be passed, they can still vote provisionally as long as they're registered. And then that will be a way for them to participate December 5th also. We just gotta get them into the correct location and we can do all those. The regarding November seventh. And this came out of a previous meeting, the voting location managers and voting location deputies at the East Cleveland location are alerted that December fifth is a recall election for this. There are no handouts to give to voters. There is no signage at the poll places that, but they are cognizant of it if the question were to arise while they're there. So, and we'll tell them that they need to come back December fifth.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we have that. Tomorrow is the opening of the absentee. We have 6 vote by mail ballots that we'll send out in tomorrow's mail. Also, tomorrow, while we're not a polling location for November seventh, we always know that some folks come. If those folks come for November seventh matters, they will be kept on floor 1, and they will be given service for November seventh. If they come here tomorrow to vote early in person for December fifth, which they're eligible to, that they will be sent to the 2nd floor, and then they will engage in that process on floor 2. So people downstairs will be educated on that and how to direct somebody. So
Will there be signage?
it'll minor signage.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah, so
I just want us to get ahead of any challenge or dispute about, you know, I intended to vote for December fifth, but, you know, so as much as we can do,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, voters have to educate themselves too.
Right.
You know, I'm not taking any of that, but it is confusing and this, you know, we just should do whatever we can do without, we discussed all this
Yeah.
before, but if we are making a distinction on, this happens on this floor and then the other process happens on the other floor, we should have some sort of signage just so.
and
We're not relying on somebody to say, oh, no, you have to go.
so there'll be simple signage, but we will have someone there too who can engage in those questions
Okay.
when they have it and help them. And we won't give people the runaround. We'll give them the correct information, but we don't want them to feel like they're not getting the runaround either.
Right.
So we continue to
I
give.
mean, the goal is to serve the voters.
Exactly. That's
So,
what it's all about. So
Okay.
we have that. Otherwise, poll places are all locked in. Voter information guides will be going out this week to East Cleveland to notify them. Again, that was on purpose, the timing of it, again, to try to minimize confusion, but still get the word out with ample time for people to participate, vote by mail, early in person, and be prepared for election day. No poll place changes for the December 5th election. So we are ready to do all that. Now, East Cleveland, again, always likes to keep things interesting for us on Friday. Got 2 emails that we'll be working with Mark this week to address. One of them was an email from Willa Hemmons informing us that East Cleveland will not, the mayor or her or whatever combination, they will not be paying for the East Cleveland recall election. This is an election that the Board of Elections is conducting, and so they can eat the cost. So we will work on appropriate responses. Because it's a special election, we bill. And we will send there's a post-election bill that I think we have to send, I think within 60 days after the election, and then they have 30 days to pay. So we'll figure out what we do there, and if at all we incorporate I forget the official title, but there's someone at the state level at ODM who is a financial advisor over the city of East Cleveland, make sure that maybe they're involved in the loop and everybody knows what's going on. And ultimately, they have to pay one way or another. It's just what will that way be? So we'll work and we'll let you know kind of how those things progress, but
And just remind me,
Yeah.
and Willa Hemmons is sending that email on behalf in her role as what?
I believe as the law director.
I think that's what
Is she the law director for the city?
yes, that's what she represents herself, yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we have that piece that we'll work through. Then the other email that came across, or not an email, this actually was a hand delivery.
Can I ask you a question about that? Does
Yeah.
council have to approve those costs, or is that something that the mayor signs off on? I mean, I would think, or is that charter specific? Because I would imagine that's part of their approved, over a certain amount, they have to approve it. So I don't know what authority she has to say the mayor said no. I guess that's my question.
Yeah, Brett, do you know, who do we send the bills to? We send them to the clerk of council.
Oh, so council is involved then, okay. I was just
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
that's right.
to your, I was actually thinking that, but I assume Mark will
Yes, okay.
respond appropriately. Yes,
Thank
you
you.
will be paying the bill because the bill goes to, or, the city.
Right, the city.
And we sent an initial bill.
Right.
To which they said that wasn't timely and the state, whatever that state person is, says.
Chair will recognize Mr. Brent Lawler.
Oh, hi.
Brent Lawler, Manager, Canada Petition Services. So normally we would send the bill to the clerk of council and their fiscal officer. They don't have a fiscal officer. Shocking. So we sent it to her. He sent it along to OBM in Columbus and copied the mayor and all the council members on that with the bill attached.
Are they under receivership, under oversight?
Yeah, because the
Oh, okay.
Columbus wrote back and said it wasn't filed timely. She copied it back to the mayor and all the council members saying that we're not paying it because we didn't file it timely.
Who did file it timely?
They claim the board didn't file it timely. We don't agree with that. We couldn't send the bill out to you guys certified it. So we're just gonna go forward.
I don't understand that. First of all, the costs haven't even been incurred yet. So, in terms of their polling, how can they decide it's not timely when there's plenty of time to pay for
The
the,
10-day window. Yeah,
From-
it's the way we're interpreting it versus the way they're interpreting it. I think we had 3 more days.
Okay.
In the window.
Yeah. Mr. Musson, do you wanna?
We're just starting to look into this.
Problem.
I don't put much weight on the timeliness of it. It's just an estimate anyway, and they'll pay 65% of that estimate, and then we settle up 60 days after the election when we know final costs. So I don't know how they were prejudiced by any timeliness of an estimate. And also it's 10 days prior to when an issue can be filed for the election, and I don't know when a special election on a recall, when that deadline actually is. I was looking for the actual language, but anyway, we might be getting in the weeds a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, and I think that what Mark just said, I think when this prepaid, I think that was dealing more so with the statutory special, like you would have in August, when you know when that deadline is. And when we're in a charter environment, it's like a different thing, and I think that's where some of these things get, but we have we send the bill, we'll send another bill timely after the election.
And there's a mechanism to
Yeah.
take it out of.
I was gonna
The county settles up at the end of the tax,
So I've talked to Shingita and Patrick and Fiscal. They're aware of what's going on now, and they're gonna move us forward as fast as they can after the December election. We'll send a bill to them, because I think they have 30 days from the day we send the bill. And then once that happens, so we're trying to get it done as fast as we can under the tax duplicate for next year. If they won't pay it, because we don't think they're gonna pay it.
so there's a mechanism for us to get our money ultimately anyway.
from the county auditor.
Yes, okay. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Musson.
thank you.
And then, on Friday, Eric Brewer came in and he filed 5 voter residency challenges. Which would be timely for the December 5th election. One of them is the mayor again. And then the mother, again, now she has re-registered at the East Cleveland address. And then, as well as one of the, brothers of the mayor, he re-registered, he voted provisionally in August, re-registering him at the East Cleveland, so he's also been challenged, as well as 2 additional people. Now, what was filed is really, there's not any substantive information there, but a laundry list of documents that he wants us to go and obtain, such as utility bills and rental agreements and all kinds of stuff with people. So Mark and I will be talking through that as far as, on the face of what's been presented, there's really nothing there. But if we have a requirement to subpoena these documents and basically do the investigation for him. I mean, I don't know, so we're gonna talk through that and see. Those challenges have no bearing on tomorrow's election. They're here for December. And then we'll let you know.
Yeah.
What we,
Also, since you already dealt with a few of these, it's a little different than, you know what I mean, a new
Yeah.
challenge. So, right, I mean.
Unless they did they change their registration to a new location, which would mean it's a new issue to look
Right,
at, I guess,
that's
but
right.
if.
so for example, the Mayor King, we did cancel his registration
not,
after
right.
that,
Right,
but he challenged them to that same address again.
yeah, that's, yeah.
And,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, gotcha.
and then also just as a side, we did forward a lot of, not Friday stuff, but the previous one was forwarded to the Secretary of State's Public Integrity Unit, in which they're still working on some of those, and we have kept them abreast of, for example, when the mother and the brother re-registered at the address, they have been getting that information, and
So do they now have jurisdiction over these? I mean, is it something, do they have seems to me, maybe they have some continuing jurisdiction over these challenges. So, I mean, that maybe our inquiry would be nominal and then we punt the ball to the Secretary of State's office. I don't know.
We could look into it. I'm not sure what their official role is, whether it's just an administratively created entity for the Secretary of State, but you know, the board does have its statutory duties and we need to make sure
We do, but they have effectively, they are now looking at what arises out of the same facts and, what is that? There's the same set of facts and circumstances, so you would think, like in a court, if a court takes jurisdiction over a matter of controversy that arises out of the same set of facts and issues, they would retain that jurisdiction, but, you know, that would be my
that there would
argument
be a
that,
lot of duplication.
yeah, why would we duplicate? I mean, it would go to quasi judicial efficiency, and all that, but maybe you can look at that and maybe check with them, and not to dump it on them, but if they are handling the same issue with the same players, and then, you know, maybe our process is abbreviated and we can make the referral.
Okay, but let me look at it because.
Yeah, no,
there's a
and I-
hearing process. Yeah, but we need to,
We're not trying to abdicate our statutory duties, but how many times are we gonna have to look at the same issue and have a protracted hearing about it? It just doesn't seem to me, if we're gonna wind up in the same place with a referral to the integrity unit, maybe there's something else that we can do
okay, yeah.
that satisfies our duty, but also, you know, I just hate to keep relitigating and rehearing the same issues, especially if there's no change in the registration and no cancellation of the registration.
I think, so this one, they were canceled and then they turned around and registered.
But the mayor, you said the mayor registered at the same place.
Right,
So-
I think he's different circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it remains registered at the same place.
right,
Yeah.
so there was a couple.
So those are a couple that were.
Maybe that's
So, yeah,
handling
thanks.
from the, you know, prior record on this.
But just to, yeah, I know you guys are you just got the emails, so.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so we will, again, we're gonna work together, figure out what the path forward is, and then we'll know something for our next meeting, what we need to, whether we're doing some hearings, some referrals, some dismissed, whatever, so.
well, will that
keep
be
you abreast.
for, that'll be for the next meeting, or?
Yeah, I think by statute, let's do something like, we can't determine administratively, the hearing needs to take place on an accelerated timeline, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
but
we would probably do it on the December, November 18th, I think is our next meeting.
November 20th.
20th.
November 20th, yeah, would that be one we should probably deal with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
You know, in the meantime, two part of our discussions will be in the meantime, do we put these individuals in a much more provisional status? Why we try to handle out exactly what the next steps are, give them the opportunity to vote. It's restricted to one form of vote, but until we can work through, it allows. You know, and again, we're gonna be working on this
that makes.
swiftly
that
to
makes
try to
sense
see
looking
what our
into
steps
that.
are.
Okay,
Makes
yeah,
sense looking into that.
Because otherwise, it's that balance cast, it's cast. At least the provisional is embargoed in an envelope.
let me,
Yeah,
there's two elections going on.
yes, so. I tell everybody, Cuyahoga County conducts the most complex elections in the state, when you have like 53 charters and everything, it's crazy. But for as far as East Cleveland is concerned, for December fifth, at this point, that's all I had, unless there was any questions on East Cleveland.
Any other questions or comments for the record?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, well, thank you.
I just did want to give a quick heads up that Peter James has been working with staff in the background on the election administration plan, which statutorily is required for us to have that in place. I think around the top of the year, and I know Peter, he knows all the ins and outs, but that's something where soon, and I can't define soon,
Yeah,
we'll be providing that document to you. And for your review, it does not require a board vote, but it's something where you review it and then you would sign off. I will try to get it to you in plenty of time so you can review it, and even if we need to have discussion in a board meeting, we could. But that's working in the background at the same time for us to have that document. 'Cause I think it's I don't know, it's the first week in January or so when it's due. Peter? January 4th.
okay. Awesome.
And that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you. The chair has not received any requests for public comment.
All right.
All right, and so I just want to say before we move to recess, I just want to thank the staff, thank the
Right.
director, deputy director, and all the staff for your hard work for the upcoming tomorrow's election.
Right.
And as Mary will tell you, Wednesday's coming. All right. And thank you, and for the ensuing December 5th.
Yeah, what a
Thank you,
year.
thank you. Have a great day tomorrow. We know that you put in a lot of work
That's right.
and that the public will be well served by the work that you've put in. So I just want to say thank you. Any other comments from the
No,
board?
that's well said.
Well said.
Well said.
Thank you. So I move to go into recess.
Yes.
Second.
Second by Ms.
election,
Chappelle. All in
everyone.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Have a great day.